All right, so example 4. Example 4 says the table below shows the arrival and departure time. Sorry, the arrival and departure of a passenger minibus at 2 places on a journey from downtown to Temple Hall. So this bus is going from downtown to Temple Hall, and there are 2 places. These are 2 places along the journey: Constant Spring and Stony Hill. Now, the bus arrived at Constant Spring. So the first place the bus reached is Constant Spring. It got to Constant Spring so this row is dealing with arrival and this row is dealing with departure. So the bus arrived at Constant Spring at, so it's coming from, let us say, Crossroads or Half a Tree. It reached Constant Spring at 9:45. The conductor spent about 8 minutes to call other passengers. Then they leave Constant Spring at 9:53. Now, from 9:53 to 10:11, they drive until they arrive at Stony Hill at 10:11. 4 minutes after they leave Stony Hill, and I'm thinking they leave Stony Hill now to drive to the next place at 10:15. Here it is. How long did it take the minibus to travel from Constant Spring to Stony Hill? So for this part of the question, what we're interested in is what time did the bus leave Constant Spring and what time did the bus arrive at Stony Hill? Well, the bus leave Constant Spring at 9:53 and arrive at Stony Hill at 10:11. So we have our departure time from Constant Spring, the arrival time, Stony Hill. We need to calculate the time of the journey. How long did it take the minibus to travel from Constant Spring to Stony Hill? So the time of the journey is time would be the arrival, 10:11, minus the departure, 9:53, minus 9:60, plus 11:71. 3 from 11 is 8. 5 from 6 is 1. According to this, the bus took 18 minutes to travel from Constant Spring to Stony Hill. The bus took 18 minutes to travel from Constant Spring to Stony Hill. Here it is. Stony Hill is 15 kilometers away from Constant Spring. Calculate the average time, the average speed of the minibus along this section of the journey. Now, average speed is equal to total distance divided by total time. The distance is 15 kilometers. Divide by the time, which is 18 minutes over 60. So remember, if the unit of speed is kilometer, the unit of time must be in hours only. So this is 15 over 1 times 60 over 18. So multiply everything at the top and then divide by 18 to get your answer. What is the average speed? So the bus took 18 minutes to travel the journey. The journey is 15 kilometers. Now we want the average speed, which is the total distance divided by the total time. If I wanted to, I could have worked my time as decimal, meaning it is 18 divided by 60, which is 0.3. 18 divided by 60 is 0.3. So it would be 15 divided by 0.3. So if I wanted to, I could say that time is 18 divided by 60, which is 0.3. So my average speed would be the total distance divided by the total time, which would have been 15 divided by 0.3. Both of these should give me the same answer. So 15 times 60 divide by 18. This is 50 kilometers per hour. Or I could work it as a decimal, and it's 15 divided by 0.3, which is the same 50 kilometers per hour. So I could work my time either as a decimal or work it as a fraction. Both will give me the same answer. All right, guys, so example 5, this is the last question. This says, in preparation to participate in a race, Amanda traveled 8 kilometers running and walking in 48 minutes. So Amanda traveled this distance, which is 8 kilometers. And in traveling this distance, she did two things. She both ran and she walked. But in running and walking, she took a total of 48 minutes. So I could say that the total distance is 8 kilometers. And the total time is 48 minutes. So she took 48 minutes to cover this distance. And in covering this distance, she had two activities. She both run and walk. Now, she ran X kilometers in 15 minutes. So she ran for X out of the 8 kilometers in 15 minutes and walked the remaining distance at 5 kilometers per hour. Oh, sorry, 15 kilometers per hour. She ran X kilometers at 15 kilometers per hour and walked the remaining distance at 5 kilometers per hour. Write an expression in X for the time in hours that she ran. All right, well, time is equal to distance divided by speed. Now, she ran X kilometers and she was doing it at 15 kilometers per hour. So the time she took running the X kilometers at 15 minutes per hour is X divided by 15. That's the answer. Now, the time she took walking the remaining distance, time is equal to distance divided by speed. Now, the remaining distance would be 8 minus X. In total, she traveled 8 kilometers. X out of the 8 is what? Running. And the remaining distance, which is 8 minus X, she walked at 5 kilometers per hour. All right. So then we're asked now to form an equation for the total time in hours. So the total time in hours would be x over 15. That's the time that she spent running. And 8 minus x over 5. That's the time she spent walking. And these two times would add up to 48 minutes. Divide by 60. Now divide by 60 because the time must be in hours. Divide by 60 because the time must be in hours. And it says, form an equation. This should be an, not and. Form an equation for the total time in hours Amanda spent on her journey. We have the time she spent running, the time she spent walking, adding up to the total time, which is 48 minutes, which is 48 divided by 60 hours. 12 into this is 4, 12 into this is 5. So the equation I have to solve is x over 15 plus 8 minus x over 5 is equal to 4 over 5. Ladies and gentlemen, let us focus because we can do this. If I'm adding or subtracting fractions, if I have an equation with fractions, the first thing I need to do is to get rid of the fractions. One way to do that is to find the LCM, use the LCM, and then discard the LCM. The LCM here is 15. 15 into 15 is 1. 1 times x is x. 5 into 15 is 3. 3 times the numerator. Whenever you multiply a sum or a difference, you must put it in brackets. So it's 3 multiplied by 8 minus x. 5 into 15 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. I found the LCM. I used the LCM. Next, I'm going to discard the LCM. Discarding the LCM simply means going forward, I go forward without the LCM. So I have x plus 3 into 8 minus x is equal to 12. I just need to solve this equation to get x. I'm going to remove the brackets by applying distributive law. 3/8 are 24. 3 times x is 3x. And this is equal to 12. Let's group all the x's to one side and all the numbers to the other. We have x minus 3x is equal to 12 minus 24. Positive 24 on the left goes over to the right and become negative. X minus 3x is minus 2x. 12 minus 24 is minus 12. And then we're going to divide both sides by minus 2. And we get x is equal to 6 kilometers. Guys, x is the distance out of the 8 kilometers that she ran. And according to our calculation, she ran for 6 kilometers and she walked the additional 2 kilometers. So in her 8-kilometer journey, she ran for 6 out of the 8 kilometers, and then she walked the other 2 kilometers. She ran at 15 kilometers per hour and walked at 5 kilometers per hour.